the best iRacers in the business.
It's the way to do it. We're in the 87 cars here at Talladega. As you see the 15 car grabbing the wall.
Wow.
He did it! He made it through that!
Wow.
Oh, we got contact! Oh my goodness! Oh, and he's upside down! Garrett Gusso is upside down! Mayhew's sliding! They're not being able to stop the 7-car, losing it! He's into the grass on the tri-oval! He's gonna get a penalty for that! He has no help, and this guy's got a rocket ship! Move aside, Kim Jong-un, the 46 crew can build a better rocket than you! Your Nexus $4.99 champion is Garrett Gusso. Garrett Gusso, winner of the $4.99. Garrett Gusso, you are immortal.
Hello, and welcome in everybody to another awesome, fantastic podcast here on the Dega Boys Broadcasting Network. Full Send Half Pass Podcast, episode 73. Tonight is going to be a fun one. We're going to talk about all of the NASCAR races this weekend at Worldwide Technology Raceway, Gateway, as well as in Portland for the Xfinity Series. What a banger of a race that was. I can't wait to talk to you guys about that, as well as the IndyCar and IMSA Series racing there at the Detroit Street Course. We'll talk about those as well. A little bit of news here early in the beginning of this podcast we're going to talk about, as well as our infamous or famous, however you want to look at it, driver and bonehead moves of the week on nominees for this week that you guys will be able to vote on after this podcast, as well as all the point standings for the Cup Series, the IndyCar Series, as well as the IMSA GTP Series. And then we got a landslide of races this weekend as well, as we have Xfinity Cup at Sonoma. IndyCars are back this weekend at Road America, as well as F1 at Canada. And we also got some IMSA racing over there at Mid-Ohio. We'll preview those races for you guys as well, and also go over our fantasy picks for this weekend's races included. And then also our famous segment that we always like to do here when the tinfoil hats come on. So we'll talk about that as well when we get to that point of the podcast. But first off, I'm here with Tom tonight. Tom, how are you doing, man?
Oh man, I am ecstatic to talk about some of the races from the previous weekend. It's we had some banger races for sure.
Yes, I agree. And yeah, when we get into the IMSA stuff, I'll explain exactly why I think IMSA is the best racing series. First off though, we got Jared in the chat, says, "What's up, boyos?" Jared, nice to see you, man. Thanks for joining us on the podcast last week. It's a great time that we had there last week at episode 72, as well as the watch party that he was involved with last month as well. We're also doing another watch party, which we're going to announce that here tonight as well. I've already got it scheduled on the channel, so if you've been keeping tabs or got the notifications on, you will see it. He says, Midland, Ohio is the best. Tom approves. It is goated.
That place blows.
Alrighty. First bit of news here tonight that we're going to talk about is the Kyle Larson playoff waiver debacle that eventually got sorted out. And now Kyle Larson gets his playoff waiver and is now back in championship contention and eligibility here for the NASCAR championship. I guess I didn't even really care about this whole waiver thing, Tom, because I think the whole thing is just BS to begin with. Like, why do we need to run the full season to be eligible for the championship? The dude's second in points. Like, why does he have to even run all the races? Like, I think it's stupid that there's an affidavit in the whole rule book where you have to compete in every race. I think that's the stupidest thing. I think it should go back to points. Because obviously it doesn't matter anyway, because if you win a race, you're in. I mean, it's just dumb, the whole playoff system in NASCAR. What are your thoughts on this Larson playoff?
Yeah, I agree. It shouldn't be, this playoff system has made that drama in the first place. I don't know. Part of me says that, well, the waiver system itself is it's such a huge gray area within NASCAR, right? I mean, it is. No matter how you look at it, it's a gray area. I mean, we're giving waivers to drivers who purposely wreck people. We give waivers to people who get hurt outside of the sport. I mean, it's kind of weird, but NASCAR came with a statement and said that they were in gray areas because they haven't been put in this situation before. Shouldn't you have thought about that? I mean, you've got drivers in the sport that regularly go outside of the sport to go and race. What if something happened? Or weather related. I mean, at any point in time across the whole year, you could have had weather issues like that would have prevented a driver from flying to the race. I mean, same day is kind of stretching there because they probably wouldn't do that in the first place. But still, I mean, are we going to start punishing drivers for not showing up for qualifying or not showing up for practices? Or like, I mean, I kind of feel like that's the can of worms that NASCAR opened up.
Yeah, I mean, it's just dumb. I think I don't even think you need a playoff waiver to begin with. I think the only way I think there's too many drivers in the playoffs to begin with. 16 just way too freaking many. The winning you're in thing is BS. Now we got playoff waivers or people miss races. Let's just take it back where we go back to the top 12 drivers, regardless of wins, and just go to points. Let's just award the top 12 points earners through your regular season a chance at a championship. And I don't care if you miss 8 races, if you still make it into the top 12 in points, you're championship eligible. We don't need no freaking waivers, man. BS. He's second in points. He shouldn't even need a waiver. Like, put that in perspective. He's missed a race and he's still only 21 points behind Hamlin for the regular season championship with a missing race. Like, come on. But
Wow.
yeah, wild. All right, so that clears that whole thing up. I knew it was gonna happen. I think we mentioned it last week on the podcast. Well, like, yeah, by the time we're back here next week, it'll all be sorted out, and here we are. So no big issues there. And then this other one that Tom brought up though was Ocon departing Alpine by the end of the season. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, it was all triggered by what he did at Monaco. I mean, there was reports that during the race, the team principal called over Jack Brabham, which was the reserve driver, and Esteban Ocon into his office, and like immediately after it, because he drove back to the pits and whatever. But I mean, there was speculation since then that he was canned. I'm surprised he's actually racing at Canada, to be honest with you. I'm surprised they're giving him the option to finish out the rest of the year, given how cutthroat F1 is. But I was kind of expecting it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's BS, man. Like, I guess the way I look at this, though, Tom, is I think that he was already on the chopping block, or if rumors were swirling anyway coming into the season that this was going to be his last season at Alpine anyway. And I feel like this was just a perfect example of a way where they could just dispose of their unwanted goods, I guess, in the middle of a season. My thing is, you look at like drivers like, let's just put some examples out there. Santino Ferrucci in IndyCar. I think Ocon and Ferrucci have a lot of similarities. Ferrucci's still driving. He's not getting canned. Ross Chastain. I think it's another perfect example. Actually, I would put Ocon and Chastain in the same status level. These two guys will do anything to gain a position. They refuse to give up an inch on the racetrack. And the way F1 is, it's so, like you said, it's cutthroat. It's a good old boy club. And if you don't play in their little sandbox and confide to their little pre-decided ideas and mentality, then you're just canned. You're done. And I think it's BS. But I'm sure somebody will pick him up. I mean, it's not like he's talentless. I mean, look what he's done with Alpine the last couple of years alone. I mean, he's a winner in Formula One. I mean, that's something Lando in great equipment took him years to do, and if he still wouldn't have won if the grace of God didn't bless him into that. So, I mean, yeah, say what you will, but I'm here for it, man. Like, just like as much as I like Santino's good for IndyCar, Chastain's good for NASCAR. I think Ocon's good for Formula One. You need that person that's gonna do crazy, bold takes and maneuvers that's gonna shake it up a little bit every once in a while. I mean, look at K-Mag. K-Mag's still driving. K-Mag, I'd put him at the same level as Ocon right now.
Yeah.
It's some good stuff, good action. You need more of that racing.
I think he's going to be out of that seat by the end of the year.
I agree.
The end of the year. Yeah, I don't think he's going to survive the 20. If he does, I mean, we were surprised with Sergio Perez getting a 2-year contract with Red Bull today.
I'm surprised.
That is insane.
Yeah. What's next? Logan Sargent, lifetime contract with Williams.
Wouldn't surprise me at this
point.
It
wouldn't surprise me either, dude. It's crazy what's going on around here. Somebody will pick up Ocon, though. Somebody will find value in that pickup, and he'll go somewhere. He probably will. His days of competitiveness are probably well behind him, though, wherever he goes. But, Audi would be a good stock.
Well, I read something with Ocon. It was going to be an Ocon... Ocon Schumacher lineup at Haas.
Dang.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
That's what I read.
Yeah, because we got Hulkenberg going off to Audi. Magnussen, his F1 days are probably behind him. The way everything's going, he's made too many enemies for sure. But we'll see. Silly season's gonna get ramped up. We're into the summer months now.
I'm wrong, Jay. What I read was that Schumacher was gonna go to Alpine.
Oh, okay.
Because they're a Mercedes customer. Yeah, not Haas. Sorry. I don't know who the second driver rumored to be at Haas is.
Oh, that'd be great if we had Magnussen and Ocon both at Haas.
Oh, my God.
That would be so great, dude.
That would be a great entry for Andretti to buy him out.
Oh, yeah. Do you imagine if they bought him out and they've hired Ocon and K-Mag? Oh man, that'd be so
Rip.
great. That'd be like having Josepar and Chastain under the same banner right there in F1. That would be the dream team right there, man. Alrighty. Yeah, let's get right into it. That's the news that we got here that we were interested in bringing up here in the podcast tonight. So, first off, the truck race on Saturday, the Toyota 200 at Worldwide Technology Raceway, saw Majeski win the pole. Majeski win stage 1 and 2. There's not much to talk about. Gateway with the truck. I don't really know how I feel about Gateway, man. Like to put this in perspective, we go and have an iRace there on Wednesday, and it was a pretty damn decent race. And then we go into IRL, and I felt like it was an opposite effect. I don't know if you feel the same way. I felt a little like something left to be desired. Heim wins the race. Let's just put that out there first. But yeah,
Um, I'm gonna have an opposite opinion actually.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I actually kind of enjoyed the race weekend with the Cup Series, not the trucks, just the Cup Series at Gateway. And the reason why is because of the strategies that everybody was trying to run. We saw drama up in the front with both the Kyles. And one thing I do know about, you know what? Sorry. Go ahead. We'll talk about this on the Cup side.
Yeah, I was about to say you can talk about this stuff.
Now the truck race. I didn't watch a lot of it, but
Me neither. I watched a little bit of it.
I agree with you on that point. I don't know. I don't know what went wrong with the trucks.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's the trucks, man. Trucks have just been terrible. I mean, it's really bad.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
Trucks have it's such a shift because the trucks used to be the premier series in NASCAR, in my opinion, for years, and it's just now it's a shell of its former self, and yeah. And which is a weird sign though, because if the truck race sucks, usually the Cup race is pretty decent. But then if the truck race is good, then the Cup race is going to be dog water. It's weird how that works because the trucks and Cup just seem to be companion everywhere anymore. It's weird. All right. Well, that's all I want to talk about the trucks. Corey Heim did win the race. This is like his 4th win this season. Definitely clear championship favorite. I mean, it's without a doubt. So, Xfinity Series, this race was an absolute banger at Portland there. It was the Pacific Automation 147. We saw Allgaier win the first 2 stages. What has been the trend all season long, Tom? Whenever Allgaier wins stage 1, whenever he wins stage 2 in the same race, he doesn't win the race. It's weird.
It's like he's allergic to it, actually.
If I'm Allgaier, I'm sacrificing the stage sweep to go for the 5 points for the win. Like every time he does it, he does something dumb to lose the race. But really, what I want to talk about this race though was I guess a few things here. The Haley Deegan scenario here, when she lost her tire down the back straightaway. Didn't they just fire their crew chief because the crew chief wasn't getting the job done, and we get a new crew chief and still can't get the job done? Can't even put a tire on the car?
I'll one up you there, Jay. Within the first 10 laps, she was already lapped down.
That's worse than Natalie Decker at Road America right there. Like, that is bad.
That is a horrible look on the team. Horrible. My God. I could go there and do better than that. As a crew chief, not as a driver.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm so tired of reading all these forums that we got to fight. We got to clean house. We just got to get rid of all the team. The cars are terrible. We need to get a better team car. And Brett Moffitt last year in equipment that isn't as good as what it is now was getting great performances and never complained about the team being bad. This just brings me back. Who's the crew chief last year on our truck team? Rich Lucius goes with Haley Deegan. They fan reception of him was so terrible. They wanted him canned for so long. They move him over to Ben Rhodes and they win the championship. I don't get it. What, like, this crew chief that just got fired here with Haley Deegan, I'm looking at him to probably be the next champion this year. He's gonna go get matched up with Allgaier or something, and they're gonna go win the championship.
Well, I'm convinced that if Brett Moffitt stayed in that car, they were going to win races this year.
Oh, facts. 100%.
I was convinced, and then you bring in somebody else, and the program goes to complete dog water. I mean, imagine this: you take some water, you put it on the stove in a pot, you boil it, and then you get your pack of Walmart hot dogs, you throw it in the pot, you let it boil, cook the hot dogs, take the hot dogs out, and then you just start chugging the hot dog water. That is what that team loves to do right now. They are just hot dog water. That's all it is.
I would be
It's embarrassing.
embarrassed to show up to the track. I mean,
And then
it's
here's
sad.
Frankie Muniz trying to do something while he has horrible equipment, still finishing better than Deegan in the races that he gets. But he goes out there on lap 2 with a used motor, blows a motor, and doesn't have any spares, and he's done for the weekend.
Yeah.
Where's the help there, NASCAR? Trying to help rising stars.
Yeah. And the way I look at it, Ricky, if you want to bring the popularity contest into this whole equation, Ricky Muniz is way more popular than Haley Deegan. I'll promise you that. Right away. But yeah, well,
Yep.
There's two types of people in this world, Tom. There's the ones that live in la la land and delusional world, and then there's the rest of us. And I feel like I'm living in this world, and quote unquote people are living in that la la land delusional world. So there's just nothing you can say. But that's embarrassing. Embarrassing weekend for that 15 team this weekend. Hopefully they can bounce back on Thursday, get the job done.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And then also, the big story in this race though was SVG. SVG drove through the field several times during this race.
Good Lord.
I mean, pit road mistakes. They ended up shortcutting. I think at stage 2. Interesting race out of SVG. It was he made a mistake at one point, went off the course. Like SVG was having an absolute crazy roller coaster of a race. But we get late into this race, and here's my big gripe here, Tom, with this entire race, this whole weekend. And I understand it's a rule, but just because it's a rule it doesn't have to make sense, and it doesn't have to be correct, in my opinion. Sheldon Creed wasn't going to win this race. Let's just make that completely clear. My gripe isn't the fact that maybe I'm a Sheldon Creed homer and he could have won this race, because I'm not that delusional. He wasn't going to win the damn race. But the fact that when we get that restart, one of those late restarts, SVG does not go. He just didn't go. He just mistimed the restart. And Sheldon Creed timed it right off of Allgaier and went. And instead of deciding to just absolutely rear end the back of SVG, turn him into the field and wreck the entire field, he decides to make a billion IQ move, goes to the middle line, doesn't advance his position before the start-finish line. They're side by side, and then he ends up giving up the position anyway, going into the next corner. And NASCAR gives him a EOL penalty. Big Daddy NASCAR. What do you want Creed to do in this scenario? Do you want him to just junk the field because SVG didn't go? You don't penalize the guy for not being able to get a good restart, but then you penalize the guy that does the avoiding action to not run into the guy that doesn't get a good restart. And then what makes it even worse is we still have that incident at Richmond with Denny Hamlin where he jumps the restart. At least still haven't corrected that or fixed that ever. Where's the consistency, Tom? I get this as a rule, but it doesn't have to make sense if it's a rule. I mean, that's what makes me so angry.
Your point of consistency is what is so damning. You have a driver jump a restart and win the race, and then you have a driver jump the restart, not really jump the restart, avoid a car in front of them, and get penalized, which is less severe than jumping the restart and winning the race. Although it is a rule in the series, there needs to be, I believe, some sort of corrective action. So how many spots you gain on that restart, he doesn't need to drop, like in that certain scenario. I think SVG lost 6 positions. Look, Sheldon Creed didn't deserve to go behind SVG right there. Now, if he gave up 1 position to be in a hypothetical spot of where he would be if SVG got a good restart, I think that would suffice. Plus, it's turn 1 at Portland. It's not like it's not like everybody's going to get through the corner clean, and they didn't. I mean, they were door banging all the way down to turn 3, so it's not like there was a lot to gain anyways. Actually, Sheldon Creed got damage from it, and a small tire rub. So I mean, it's like, what else do you want? Now, that's not in the rules, but that's what I would propose.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. The only thing that I do not want revision on, though, Tom, is I hate NASCAR stick and ball calls, or whatever you want to refer to them as, like the set it under replay. Like, I feel like you should be able to change lanes before the restart, as long as you don't advance position before the start finish line. I feel like that's fair, because some people are just better restarters than others. It's just a fact,
Right, but in this certain situation, SVG had problems.
Yeah.
And he dropped like 6 positions. I mean, Sheldon Creed's not going to let off the gas there and get assholed by somebody else. You know, I mean, the asshole would have started from all the way P17 is what I'm trying to say. What Creed there to get out and try to save his car was the right move. And then SVG still struggled all the way down the front stretch down into turn 1. The hypothetical of where you would be if SVG had a good restart should suffice going into turn 1, because he wouldn't have gained an advantage anyways if SVG was in front of him. But, and then to my other point of saying, well, there is a kind of a international rule when it comes to restarts and passing people on restarts and whatnot, is give the position back to the individual in front of you, and then you can continue racing. Well, in that certain circumstance, that would have never worked. We would have had a huge pileup on the front straightaway.
Right.
And so Sheldon Creed did do the right thing there to pull out and give everybody breathing room while taking it 3 wide. That 3 wide situation is what saved probably 10 cars, 15 cars. And so, but again, the consistency, like what you're talking about, is just all over the board. There is no consistency. It's so inconsistent.
Yeah. Well, what this reminded me of, like, you just brought up the perfect point. By doing what he did, he saved half the field from getting jumped. And we saw this scenario actually last year in the Cup race at Auto Club. If you remember that race, I can't remember who it was, got a terrible restart. And instead of changing lines, because that's the rule, somebody drove through the back of the other guy, and it caused like a 10-car pileup on one of the restarts at Auto Club last year. So it's like, what do you want, NASCAR? Do you want what Creed did and penalize him for saving the entire field and having a good finish, which ultimately that race was a freaking banger of a finish? Or do you want to have the Auto Club scenario where the guy just knows he can't pull out a line, so he just runs right into the back of somebody and turns them into the field? What does NASCAR want?
If you root cause it, Jay, it's one of 2 options. You either penalize the team or you penalize multiple teams.
There you go.
Because if you penalize the team for pulling out and making avoiding the contact, all right, you're going to punish the team. But if you make them stick within the rules, you're going to punish that guy, the guy in front of him, the guy behind him, the guy behind that guy, the guy behind that guy, and then you're going to have a whole pileup on the front straightaway. We're going to be under caution for, if we were IndyCar, 30 laps, and then, if it was, and then the unnecessary cost to the team.
Yeah.
Because of a stupid rule.
Yeah.
It's just Sheldon Creed lifts his shirt up to pee.
Oh, yeah. So, rip for Sheldon Creed. Took away, I would believe he probably finished P3, P4, maybe P5 even. Still would have had a great finish, but unfortunately he finished basically last. So that kind of stinks, but it is what it is. But final restart, SVG, Allgaier into battle in the last 3-4 laps. SVG gets the win, his first career win in the Xfinity Series of Portland. What an absolute Chad drive. I mean, honestly, at certain points that race, you would have looked at that race and been like, SVG's got the best car on the track. And then the next thing you know, you're like, no, SVG is not going to win this race. He's absolutely choked it. And somehow he kept finding a way to get back to the front of the field. I mean, this guy, imagine if he would have never had any of those mistakes, none of that trouble, none of that off strategy. He probably would have dog walked the field by a lap. I mean, he was that freaking good, man. Unbelievable.
There's not a lot of people who could have done that too. I mean, I'm thinking about it. Maybe maybe Kyle Busch in his prime.
Yeah.
Maybe
Allmendinger in his prime.
Ambrose.
Yeah.
Ambrose in his prime.
Yeah.
On road courses.
Yeah.
We're just talking specifically road courses. There's not a lot of people that could do that. That's what made it so exciting, because I sincerely think we witnessed a highlight reel race for the next 10, 15 years.
Oh, yeah. And that's what I want to talk about next, is the race in itself. I mean, you know it's a damn good race, Tom, when the camera can't even focus on one battle or another. Because it looked like one of our broadcasts, Tom. I'm legit serious on this. Like you'd have 2, 3, 4 cars beating and banging, door banging, rocking each other off the track, staying sideways, slideways through the corner. Next thing you know, they're panning away from that battle. Like, no, stay to the battle. And then they zoom in. There's another one just as badass as that one. And it was like the entire second stage of this race was absolutely freaking thrilling, dude. I'm out of my chair. Oh, man. That is NASCAR racing to me. All those guys were beating, banging, rubbing. None of them were taking each other out or dumping each other. They were just... Maybe they knock each other off the track a little bit, lose a spot or two, but they're right back in the mix. Like, that is stock car racing. Xfinity cars, Xfinity series, the greatest series in all of NASCAR history. The day they get rid of this car, the way the races are designed, is the day that NASCAR is dead to me, because this was freaking NASCAR, man. That's what I love. There was strategies. Yes, that was one thing I want to talk about. Yes, we didn't have competitive pit stops, and I hate that. I hate whenever we have that. But even then, they still had an opportunity for strategy, because the track was big enough that even if you pitted before a stage, you could still not lose a lap. We saw SVG do it, and he ended up going up on the good end of that. He drove from like 12th to like 3rd by doing an off strategy. I believe Chandler Smith did the same thing off that same strategy. So there was a little bit of strategy being played. I think if we got rid of the stage cautions and had competitive pit stops, I think this race would have been even better. But again, I think this race was like a 9 out of 10. I want to watch it again. I mean, the only real stain I have is non-competitive pit stops, stage cautions, and then the Sheldon Creed penalty. Those are really the only 3 things I look back at. And even those don't really outweigh how good this race was. I don't know if you feel the same. I think this was amazing.
Yeah, it was a great race. I was on the edge of my seat the whole race, honestly. And I was the same way too. I was at the beginning of the race, I was like, oh man, SVG's got this. And then he got a little bit of contact, and up the track and off the track, and he had a couple off track excursions. I'm like, man, he's falling apart. Nope. Boy, did he prove me wrong. That was phenomenal. That's the type of drives that I freaking live for, man. Like, that is awesome. That's the stuff that I'd like to see. And I know it's a hard ask right now, especially the current climate of the sport, but it's possible. It's possible.
Yes. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. I loved it so much. Oh, man. What a race. What a race. I can't believe it. And now we're going to Sonoma this weekend, which I think is going to be, again, it's going to steal the weekend, as the Xfinity race at Sonoma. So I'm super excited. Just before that, though, oh, man, Saturday was such a great day of racing, because just before the Xfinity race, we watched an absolute banger of an IMSA race as well. I know I feel like I might be in the minority here, because there is a lot of people on the internet, which I'll talk about that more when we get to the IndyCar stuff. But there's a lot of people on the internet really bagging on the entire Detroit weekend here, particularly the IndyCar race, a little bit of the IMSA stuff as well. But this IMSA race, the Detroit Grand Prix, was an absolute banger. I said last year when we saw the Michelin Pilot Challenger Series race there last year, I was like, holy cow, how freaking badass would it be to see GT3s and some prototypes driving around here? Like, it would be so amazing. And we got it, dude. This race was an absolute banger, dude. We saw the number 6 Porsche qualifying pole. I'm lagging out a little bit there. I think I'm back. Yeah, we saw the number 6 Porsche qualifying pole, and it looked like they were going to control this race. I picked them on the podcast last week to win this race, and I was like, I felt really confident, really good about it. And early in this race, they were doing fantastic. I remember at the beginning of this race, we saw a couple mechanical issues by some of the GTD Pro cars. We saw the Corvette, the pole sitter there in GTD Pro have issues. We saw one of the Ford Multimatic teams have issues. Go figure there. That doesn't shock me one bit. They're both done early. Basically used the rest of the race as test session, multiple laps down. And then The first major incident I'll talk about, though, Tom, was when Tandy's behind the wheel of the 6 Porsche. He's leading the race. He's coming up on the back of the GTD field, and he just absolutely aims right for the back of the number 35 Ferrari, right into the chicane or the hairpin. Oh, dude, he sent him, dude. Oh my gosh, that's the most Nick Tandy thing I've ever seen, dude. Like, I would have expected that from like Jack Aiken or like Matthew Jomine, but Nick Tandy did.
That was painful to watch. That was like, it was like, I don't even know. Well, I don't even know. That was just painful.
So dumb. And the damage that he incurred from that too, like the Ferrari had pretty significant damage, but it went to the tire barrier in a way where like he just bounced kind of off and kept going, but Tandy got the time penalty for that, for avoidable contact. The whole front end, the aero, the downforce in that car must have been destroyed because he had no more pace for the rest of the race. I know they did cycle back to the lead eventually when they made the driver swap, but I mean, they were just basically a sitting duck, and we'll talk about that when we get towards the end of this race, but I couldn't believe that. And then also, Connor DeFelipe. What happened to Connor DeFelipe, Tom? This man was an absolute cannonball in this race, dude. He ends up driving it into the barrier in the hairpin. He ends up driving it into a barrier, I believe, in turn 6. Drives it into the barrier there in turn 1. I mean, what? And then he pounds it off the wall off of turn 1 as well. Like, what the, or turn 2, excuse me. What the hell was DeFelipe doing in this race? What happened to this man?
His dog died. That's the only explanation. That's it.
Dude, it's unbelievable to me, man. Like, what was it last year after he won that race at Watkins Glen, right? He absolutely put on a Chad drive, put the BMW team on his back, carried them to that victory at Watkins Glen last year. Me and Tom were like, DeFelipe, he's the next best thing. Like, this guy is going to win IMSA titles. This guy is unstoppable. This year, man, it's been absolutely embarrassing. What is wrong with this man, dude? Like, every time you looked at the TV, you see Felipe in the wall somewhere. Why didn't they pull him out of the car? Where was the driver swap? That's what I don't get. They say committed to him, even with all the incidents he had. Unbelievable.
That's just typical BMW, man. Really? Really? I mean, I'm watching it right now. What the heck was he doing in the hairpin?
Dude, he didn't just miss that braking zone, dude. He, like, literally drove through the braking zone.
It's like, instead of actually driving or looking forward out the windshield, he was looking in his rear camera. Like, look at that's comical.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, put on an absolute display. The one thing that baffles me, though, is just the driver swap. Like, after the mistakes he was making, he made several mistakes, and they never got a driver swap. Like, yeah, we're watching right now the turn 2 incident when he just pile drives the wall with the right side. He was never going to make that corner. The reason he snapped it sideways is because he realized he went too deep into the corner, dude. He corrected it and went right, the tank slapped it with the right rear. I mean, just embarrassing. If I'm Connor DeFelipe, man, I'm going into hibernation for a while. I mean, that is embarrassing weekend there for him.
Almost. That's second place for the Redneck Horsepower Award for this race.
Yeah, I agree. Oh man, and it gets even better because the battle for the win in GTD Pro, the GTD Pro class was really what's a good word for this, Tom? Not that it wasn't competitive, but it was. You had your two best cars. It was the 77 Rexy Porsche and also the number 14 Vassar Sullivan. They were just head over heels better. They end up both having incidents in this race. Both make contact. Both these cars look ready for the dumpster, and they're still pulling away from the rest of the field. Like, how did that even happen? The 14 team, the Vassar Sullivan, their whole front end was ripped off that car. There was no more downforce on the front of that car. That car must have been an absolute tank to drive. I think they interviewed, who did they interview at the time? I can't remember if it was Hawksworth or Barnacle. One of the drivers that just got out of the car that had the damage, and they said, how was it to drive the car? And they're like, oh, I don't really know. And he's like, well, you drive it every week. Is it driving different than it normally drives? And he's like, yeah, but it's still fast. I thought it was, he just didn't know how to answer that question. I mean, he wasn't at fault for the collision anyway. Really what happened is it was just a late block by the 3 Corvette, who was multiple laps anyway down. Like, I don't get the move to begin with. Ends up getting into the hairpin, makes the late block or whatever, damages the 14. I think the 77 hit the 14 in the rear, or maybe hit the Corvette. I can't really remember exactly, but it was just it was just crazy. I mean, the leaders are having all the issues they're having. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
that was.
man.
Yeah. I'm just. Oh.
Oh, man.
Banger.
It's a banger. And then remember, I just mentioned Jack Aiken earlier in this, right, Tom? I would have expected a lot of these moves by Jack Aiken, Nick Tandy. Yeah, I could see it, Jomine, but man, did Jack Aiken have his rounds and bouts in this race, man? He, in the turn 1, he ends up turning the JDC Miller Porsche around and causes a big stack up. Everybody's stuck on the track. The only good thing about that, though, Tom, and I'll talk more about this in the IndyCar race, but they had that thing cleaned up in like 3 minutes. We had a 14 car stack up, and they cleaned it up, and we're racing 3 minutes later. Like, how was IndyCar not able to do that? We'll talk about that more in a minute, but yeah, just great job by the track officials there in IMSA. And then Jack Aiken also made contact with Bruni. I don't know if you agree with me on this one, Tom. I've watched it back, and I really do think the Proton was at fault in this scenario because Jack Aiken was to the outside. Bruni, I don't think Bruni expected Aiken to stay to the outside. So I think it's just a racing incident, really, at the end of the day. I don't think Bruni expected Aiken to stay to the outside. Aiken held his line and was going to be brave. I don't think he would have made the corner anyway. I think it's just a really unfortunate situation there. Too bad for the Proton. Ends their race. I mean, honestly, I will chalk it up to a racing incident because I'm not going to give Aiken any of the benefit of the doubt because this is typical Aiken stuff anyway. Like, how many times in the past have we seen Aiken just do absolutely stupid things to destroy a race? I mean, it's a typical thing there out of them. So, yeah. But the end of the race, we see the number 10 Acura with Ricky Taylor and Albuquerque win the race. A masterclass. I mean, what was it, a year and a half since both of them went to victory lane? They were in that championship battle last year, and it ended so dramatically there at Petit with the incident there with the Action Express. And I felt good for him to actually win this race. I thought it was an awesome moment.
Yeah, it for sure was. The move that he made, though, going down into turn 1 on the, was it the 6? Yeah, it was the 6 Porsche. Absolute masterclass driving effort right there. That was awesome. And then not only that, I mean, he pulled away. Like, he didn't let the 6 car come back to him and put up a fight. I mean, that was awesome to watch.
Yeah, it was a beautiful race. It was like this IMSA race was just such a it was like non-manufactured excitement. Like, I mean, people are gonna complain. We'll talk about that more with the IndyCar stuff, as I really want to save it for that. But like, a lot of people don't like this type of racing. I thought it was freaking great, man. This is IMSA, dude. This is the IMSA we've seen over the last couple of years. This is what IMSA is. It's these crazy races with some drama thrown in, and then always a battle for the win late in the race. It just is. That's IMSA, man. It doesn't matter if you run a 24-hour race or if you run a 50-minute race. It's gonna be a battle to the end, a bitter end, survival. It's just, I love it. I love it. IMSA is my favorite racing series for a reason. And we proved it again here in Detroit. I'm so excited for next year, man. I mean, I already saw the schedules. IMSA's going back there next year. I'm sure it's going to be a doubleheader with IndyCar, and I'm excited for it. I think this is one of the best race weekends of the year, seeing the IndyCar and IMSA doubleheader at Detroit. It's just as good as the doubleheader at Long Beach. I think it's freaking beautiful. It's a masterpiece, man. And
it is.
The Rexy ends up winning with Heinrich and Prelude. They end up winning the number 77 Rexy machine there, the Porsche and GTD Pro. Fantastic race. I'm over the moon over this race, Tom. I thought it was just absolutely amazing. I had so much fun watching this. It was just so freaking badass.
You just didn't know what was gonna happen next. Like, you can't script this.
It's so great. It's like a match made in heaven. It is. All right, we'll go back to
Yeah.
chat. Noah Blackwell says, "Yeah, baby, SVG for the win at Sonoma." I could see it happening, man. I could see it happening.
Yeah.
Well, that might be a precursor to our picks later on, but yes, I could see it happening. And he says he loves Rexy. Oh man, that car is beautiful. The gold tooth and everything. That was sweet. I like to see them win.
Yeah, the
I
gold
kind
tooth
of
was a nice touch.
yes, yes. I really would have liked to see that race play out without the damage on the 14 and the 77. I think that if those two cars didn't have the damage, I think that would have still been a great battle. It would have been good to see if the number 3 Corvette didn't have engine troubles as well. I think we'd have had a good 3-car battle for the win there in GTD Pro, and unfortunately, it just never played out. But that's racing, man. You never know what you're gonna see when you start an IMSA race. You never know what's gonna happen, and it was just fantastic. I enjoyed it a lot. Point standings after this weekend, though. We have the number 7 Porsche is still your points leader with Nazar and Cameron. 68 points behind is the 01 Cadillac of Bourdais and Van der Sander. And 80 points behind is Durrani and Aiken in the number 31 Action Express Cadillac. I think this can be a bitter battle all the way down to the end, Tom, in IMSA again this year. I can't wait for Petit Le Mans when we have another 6 cars eligible for the championship in one race and it comes down to some crazy dramatics. I'm so excited. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. All right, Indy NXT, the Detroit Grand Prix. Me and Tom, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this because Foster won this race. Absolute masterclass again. He was the fastest in qualifying, gets the pole, and led from green to checkered. What a freaking drive by Louis Foster. This race last year is the race that put him on the map and had so much unfortunate circumstances last year where he got taken out in both race 1 and race 2 with the great qualifying position. Didn't happen to him this year. This year he survived turn 3 hairpin and was able to take it on to victory lane. Race ended under yellow, which is there's a lot of incidents. I think Aaron had a crash. Juven was around at one point. I know Siegel didn't even get to start the race because he had some issues, which really dampers his championship hopes. He's fallen in a little bit of a hole now, but Foster's closed the gap down to Abel. It's 25 points now for the Indy NXT Championship after this round, and they're racing again this weekend at Road America. So, I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. What else do we want to talk about here? That's it. I mean, that's all I really want to talk about the Indy NXT. Foster, what a fantastic race. I know Tom's really high on Louis Foster, so I
that's
feel
my
like
boy.
that was pretty good.
I will forever be a fan after last year's Detroit qualifying. That was just that was insane. If that's not a highlight reel for the next freaking 30 years, at least, then we're doing something wrong.
I agree. I think it's awesome though. Like how racing works though is sometimes things will get away from you, but they always seem to find a way to come back to your favor. And that's what this weekend was for Louis Foster. Finds victory lane after having the best car last year and not being able to get it done by circumstances out of his control. And he ends up doing it this year. Was super cool to see. Alrighty. You know what, Tom? It's time to talk about some IndyCar. It's time to talk about the race this weekend. You know what? I'll let you start this off here, Tom. We know Colton Hurtis qualified on pole, but you want to talk about the beginning of this race and getting into the theatrics before everything kind of went haywire after the rain?
Where do I even begin? Lap 1, turn 1. Okay, here's what we had. Because I really don't. Do we? I kind of just want to talk about Ferrucci. Okay.
Yes.
That's literally all I really want to talk about. Because during the practices and qualifying, boy, was he not making friends with Grosjean, with Kirkwood, with Herta, and he even made some comments about how Herta was Kirkwood's boyfriend and all this other stuff. They actually came. Ferrucci had to make a public statement apologizing for that. It was just hilarious. Now, what did we see in the race? Oh, we saw Ferrucci making more friends out on track. Who was it now? Blomqvist. Yeah, he absolutely jumped Blomqvist, and it was someone else too.
It was Kiffin Simpson, I think, is the one that came in late and climbed the wing. Yeah, dude, that was so sad.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, what? Look, It's getting to a point right now where Ferrucci, he is the bad guy in
Mhm.
IndyCar. And you know what? That's what IndyCar needs. You know, NASCAR has their heroes and villains. IMSA's working on it. IndyCar has it. All right. Their heroes right now is Scott Dixon. Their
Alex
villain
Palou.
is
Yeah.
Santino Ferrucci. That's who it is. I mean, and let's take it back a couple years too. Ferrucci has never, ever been a hero, ever in his entire life, in his entire racing career. He has always been the villain, always. And he's taking what he did in F3 and F2, and he's bringing it to IndyCar, and that's how you grow fans. I mean, there is no reason why we shouldn't see Ferrucci in the years to come. And there's no reason why we should not see a fist fight with Ferrucci in probably this year, in the coming weeks. Absolutely. We should see that. I mean, just this man was running what I think it was 18th, and he's dumping kids for positions all the way in the back. I mean, if that's not the biggest AJ Foyt thing I've ever seen, by God. I mean, that's just the epitome of Foyt. I mean, I was watching, some highlight reels from 2017, 2018, 2015. And yeah, Foyt's racing in the back, except for when Taku was there, because he was freaking awesome. But besides the point. He's carrying that torch with freaking pride, man. I mean, he's going to the racetrack with AJ Foyt and his label on it, P last on there, big old bold letters, and just waving it with all the confidence in the world and dumping everybody in his way. And really, Jay, I think that was pretty much what summarizes the first half. I mean, and I say first half because of rain break. We'll get into that, but yeah, we had a little stack up. I think wasn't it turn one?
Yeah. No, it was a
Lap
hairpin
one?
for the first time, just like last year is what it
Okay.
looked like to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
And it was a stack up. Will Power went around. Poor Cher was to
That's
the
right, Will
middle.
Power.
Yeah, it was just a lot of them McLarens got
Will
stacked
Power
up
doing
in it.
Will Power stuff
Yeah.
too.
Typical.
Yeah, Will Power's not going to win this year.
No. I think his best
That's gonna be a bold
opportunities are
prediction
over.
that I'm actually that's one that I actually put a lot of thought into, and I think I'm gonna pull it off. I do think I'm gonna pull it off. But yeah, and then the rain came.
Yeah. That was a great summary at the beginning of this race, because the beginning of this race, I mean, it was like setting up for some drama. Like it was played out kind of like the IMSA race. We had some drama. We had some.
One more thing, the alternate tires, they were junk.
Mm-hmm.
They were really good for 3 laps, really good, and then they started graining and blistering. Good job, Firestone.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah, it was good. We saw McLaughlin running P2 end up going into the wall at one point. I mean, there was a lot of weird stuff at the beginning of this race. And then the rain came, Tom. And this is what really, it went from like potentially one of the best races of the year to just the opposite in like a light switch, because the rain comes in and I don't really know what the conditions were, Tom. I wasn't there, and it's hard to tell on TV, but I guess there was concern that maybe we should pit, for some wets, and some people decided to stay out on dries. Well, the guys that pitted for wets really needed the race to go green right away to make that strategy work, so they could optimize the wet tires. Well, IndyCar pulls a Big Daddy NASCAR, and they end up running like 55 miles under yellow, basically destroying. By the time before they went green, it started to dry up enough where the wets were no use. So basically, guys like Herta, which is the one that I think it hurt the most, because I think Herta had the best car. Herta should have won this race.
He did.
He gets completely screwed. Completely screwed in this scenario, because then he's got to make a double stop to get back on dries before we go green. And that cycles, that opened the door for Scott Dixon to make that pit stop right there before the halfway point. He goes over the radio and he's like, guys, if we pit right now, we make it to the end of this race. And I'm surprised nobody else did that. Like, I was shocked that only Dixon was the one that played off that strategy like that. And he goes on to win. I mean, we could talk about the end of this race and everything that happened in between, but really the only thing that's noteworthy here, because it really kind of turned into a wreck fest, was the Herta incident. I can't remember what lap it was, but he dives down to the inside on Vature, or who was it at the time? It wasn't
Vautier.
Oh yeah, it was Vautier. That's who it was. He goes to the inside of Vautier and sends it in there in I think it was like turn 9, and just completely misses his braking zone, dives to the inside, goes off track, ended his race. He goes a lap down at that point, and I mean, bonehead move of the week. I think he still could have won that race, Tom. Like, he was so fast. Like, we saw Armstrong drive from further behind than he was up to the podium. So
my whole thing here is, why would you make a move like that on an already struggling Del Coin car?
Yeah.
You were going to make the pass. Just give it another corner.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to do it right there. To me, that just screams desperation. But we still had, 40 laps left in the race? Or something like that?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was like, what the hell?
Yeah. And this is another reason why I don't think Herta could win the championship. I mean, maybe I'll, I don't want to precursor my thought here for the preview for Road America, but I mean, it's Herta has had one of the best cars almost every single race this year. Like, he has been really good. You look back at Thermal, the All-Star race, he was one of the best cars there. Didn't get the result because obviously the strategy and everything didn't work out in his favor there. He could have won Indy 500. He makes a bonehead move, getting out of the car. He does this bonehead move here. He just doesn't have that it factor, I don't think, to be a champion in IndyCar. He's got all the speed in the world. He's got the talent. Just doesn't have the that little bit that it takes to capitalize and get these victories, and this is another scenario. Dixon, absolute masterclass. Saved enough fuel, got it to the end of the race, wins it. Unbelievable drive by Dixon. This is his 58th career win now. Now he's the points leader, which I could talk about that here in a second, which would be him leading the points by 18 points over Pelot and then 31 points over Power. And Pelot got messed up too by Newgard.
Well, he got screwed over that whole
rain
debacle.
Yeah. Yep.
Because he if it wasn't going to be Herta winning that race, it was going to be Pelot.
Yes.
Pelot was going to win that race. And he got screwed over on that rain deal because they did 40,000 freaking laps under caution when it was just minimal puddles on track. Like they haven't raced in worse. Baltimore, look up Baltimore. They've raced in worse. Okay. And then, you know, they had to do what they had to deal with that, or they had to work with what they had to work with. So it's just like, man, he got screwed.
Yeah, I agree. I would have been a great race to see Herta and Pelot battling for the win, and that's what we would have saw if it would have played out the way it did. If the race would have went the way the first 35 laps went before the rain, I mean, this race would have probably been a banger just like the IMSA race. But it really, when that like you said, those 45 miles under yellow, it ruined it for me, man. That's going to be another one thing added to our what's happening list in about 3 months from now. It's just really frustrates me. I guess my last gripe here, Tom, before we get off this IndyCar debate and talk here, is IndyCar fans are really, really irritating me right now, Tom. I go up on all of these IndyCar video comment sections. I go to some content creators that make stuff about IndyCar. I'm reading all this stuff on social media from these IndyCar fans, and they are absolutely dogging on this racetrack. They're like saying we need to get rid of it. It's a demolition derby. It's terrible. We need to go to Belle Isle, or we need to go to the worst though, Tom, is these IndyCar fans saying we need to go to Michigan. We do not need to go to Michigan. You're talking about this being a wreck fest. Let's go to Michigan where we have 3 cars finish the race. What do you mean? What do you mean?
They're just homers, man. They don't like change. It is what it is. I mean, a lot of IndyCar fans are old fans, like real old fans, and they miss the ovals. And, you know, I'm kind of like, okay, I get it, but like when we're going 240 miles an hour around Indianapolis, 240 plus Indianapolis, there's not a lot you could do to save a driver if they go airborne. There's not a lot. I was actually at the racetrack in 2018 when Robert Rickens hit the turn 2 wall. I remember going into that race that day, and I'm like, man, we really do not need to be racing here. This place is just way too dangerous. And I was kind of thinking that on my own terms because I was like, man, all this does is create a whole bunch of work for everybody else. And then, I was kind of thinking about it. I'm like, why do we even race? I mean, we're just going to finish last anyways. There's not a big deal. Let's just go out there and put around. It's not going to be just whatever, But then the whole Robert Wickens deal happened. And it's like, you know what? We don't need to be racing here because of the extra work. We don't need to be racing here because of driver safety. That is why we don't need to be racing here. It's almost gross. I mean, I get that some people are like, well, racing is the most dangerous sport in the world. I get it. I get it. But we're not savages anymore. All right, we can have great racing without sacrificing people's lives. I mean, there's been plenty of races to prove that, in my opinion. I just don't think that Michigan will solve anything. I don't think Pocono solves anything. I mean, Indianapolis is there because of Indianapolis. Although they do put on good racing, there are drivers that still get hurt though. But they've done a great job to mitigate that. I'll give them that for sure. But like, any of the other tracks. I mean, we used to go to Auto Club before they tore that down, but that was also like,
Wreckfest.
Good God, that
Texas?
was terrible. Texas is awful. It is not a good track. But we don't need to be going to places like Michigan. What we need to do is pick up another street course.
Yes, international. I mean,
Yeah,
let's
absolutely.
run. I'm okay with running 3. I a lot of people that I talk to disagree with me on this take, but I think if we only ran 3 ovals a year, I would be content with that. Indy 500, sure, we'll run that because it is the greatest spectacle of motorsports. And then sure, let's throw in one IRA race, and then we're bringing Milwaukee back. Sure, let's give us Milwaukee. But after that, we don't need ovals, man. Like IndyCars are way better on road and street courses. Way better product, less wrecks, more racing action, passing. That's what we want. Strategy. We don't want to see these guys basically going out there to kill themselves on a freaking oval, man. It's stupid. It's dumb.
Yeah, it is. What would be really cool, and I know that the gods will not bless us with it, but what would be really cool if we had a doubleheader weekend like with F1, say like
yes.
Las Vegas,
Las
Miami,
Vegas would be badass.
Mexico, you go to Mexico, yep, or Canada, go to Canada, something like that, something to get eyes on the sport. I mean, I feel like
Australia, Albert Park would be freaking
Brazil
awesome too. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm with it. I'm with it. Yeah, I agree. I would love to see IndyCar go international because IndyCar is better than Formula 1. I mean, it is. I don't know what else to tell you.
It's the most diverse racing sport in North America.
Yeah. I'll die on this rock. I think IndyCar and IMSA are the best 2 series in the world right now.
Well, actually, IMSA's pretty diverse.
Yeah, I mean, those are, if you're looking for premier racing, those are your best 2 series. I mean, I think I would put IMSA over the World Endurance Championship even, and World Endurance Championship has done a lot of great things. I'll give them that. They've had some really good races. They got more manufacturers, but IMSA has just been way more entertaining. It just is what it is. Yeah. Alrighty. I'll save that for after we talk about the Cup race, Tom. We'll go over our fun segment that we like to do every week. But IndyCar, I already went over point standings. All right, let's talk about the Cup race, Tom. Let's wrap up our race recaps here for the week. McDowell on pole, that's pretty notable. He's had a lot of poles this year. It's pretty crazy. But Bell was the most dominant car. He wins stage 1, wins stage 2. Even with, like you said, with all the strategies going on, where we had, at one point, I think we had like half the field trapped a lap down through a caution during a pit sequence when Josh Berry hit the wall. So that changed the complexion of the race. We had so many different strategies. That kind of put Penske in a position there to be kind of ahead of the strategy. We saw Bell charging through the field. Come on, computer. I think I'm back. Am I back? Oh my God. 1 minute. think I'm working now. I think my mic's working. I don't know what just happened there. My computer just had an issue there for a second. The Busch Larson incident here, Tom. Let's talk about it. One second. I am not able to hear you. My Discord's having an issue for a second here. Alrighty. Can I hear you now?
Can you hear me?
I can. All right, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. My Discord's being a little weird. Larson Busch incident, Tom. Let's do this once again.
Okay. So, here's what I do know. Okay. Kyle was wrong. What Kyle did was not okay. He wrecked Kyle and Kyle, had that whole debacle with it. And that's all I took away from it.
I put all the fault on Kyle. And Kyle might have been
fault.
innocent, but Kyle was at fault as well. So,
yeah. It's Kyle's fault.
What a great moment.
No matter how you look at it, it's Kyle's fault.
Yeah. What a great moment in this race, though. I love it. I wanted more of that kind of drama because it kind of changed my perspective on this race a little bit. I loved it. I love the drama. Can we get to a point where Kyle Busch is a heel again? Like, I miss that. I miss it so much, dude. You don't realize how much you love something until it's gone.
Also, I kind of found it funny because Kyle was defending Kyle about the waiver all weekend long, and then during the race, Kyle killed Kyle.
Bunch of Kyles.
Freaking Kyle. That's Kyle's fault.
Alrighty. Late in this race, though, we did see the final pit sequence go out. Cindric was leading the field. Blaney ends up leaping him through the pit sequence with the one lap earlier pit stop at the undercut. And it looked like Blaney was going to go on to win this race. But Christopher Bell starts charging through the field. He's getting faster. He passes Cindric. He closes all the way up to Blaney. He's battling Blaney. Blaney doing a fantastic job holding off Bell. And then Bell has engine issues, transmission issues. I don't know what happened there, Tom. Do you have an idea of what happened there?
No, but what I just want to say something real quick. Bell's run through the field multiple times was really, really fun to watch. It was. I don't know what happened to him, but what I do know is what Martin Truex Jr. did for Bell at the end of that was absolute Chad.
I was waiting for the penalty. I'm still waiting for it. Like there's got to be a penalty. It would be most BDN fashion for a penalty there.
I actually did a little research on it. That penalty of pushing a competitor around the track only applies to the last lap.
Wow. How dumb is that even though? Like,
yep.
Wow.
Because they were talking about it on the broadcast, and I was like, no way. I looked it up. Sure as shit. It's there.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. I figured they'd get him for locking bumpers or two-car tandeming or something at Gateway.
Well, they didn't help each other on the final lap.
That's true. I think they quit helping each other with a few laps to go, honestly. So,
well, I think as soon as they saw that Bell was safe in the P7 position, I think
they
it was.
Just let him go. Yeah.
Let him go. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty awesome. What a Chad. Truex's day was done. Yep. He's like, I'll put Bell out. That was wholesome, man. That's what racing's supposed to be about, man. Especially when you got a teammate, you're out of contention anyway. Like, that was cool to see. I like that. Truex is a Chad.
Yeah.
And then the final lap happened, Tom. I think you texted me like 3 to go. Look at Blaney, man. So inspirational. I'm like, he is inspirational. Look at Blaney, man. He's going to do it. He's going to win this damn thing. And then Mickey Mouse came out of nowhere. What happened?
I'll tell you what happened. Penske hired Ray Hall's fuel man from Thermal. That's what happened.
Oh, man.
Once again,
yeah. That guy is
It went from
passed
Rahal
around.
to Andretti to Ganassi to now Penske. I mean,
He's
he's
everywhere.
just getting all his rounds in.
Oh man, I wonder who's gonna be hired by next. I mean, we're gonna have a lot of Christmas presents to give out fuel card wise here on the off season. 12 days of Christmas or 12 days of motorsports. Uh, I guess in hindsight though, Tom, when I was watching that final pit stop, I was so impressed on how fast that pit stop was by Blaney. I was like, holy cow, that was the fastest pit stop I've ever seen. They didn't put enough fuel in it. That's why. They literally just changed the tires, dropped the car, and sent him. They didn't even calculate fuel or anything. I don't even think they thought that was a concern.
Yeah, thumbs up by the NASCAR officials and everything.
Oh man.
Typical Ray Hall fuel man fashion right there, baby.
Yeah, dude. What happened? Oh my goodness. Runs out of fuel. Mickey Mouse win by Austin Cindric. He's what, like 19th in points? He's going to be in the playoffs. I mean, again, another reason why the playoff system sucks. I mean, this guy can't finish in the top 10 to save his freaking life. He lucks into this, backs his way into a win. And I've gotten into arguments with Steven over this before. Well, I guess not really arguments, but he keeps telling me, he's like, there's any driver on that grid except for maybe LaJoie could win a race on any given Sunday. He's like, all but maybe Burton and Gibbs. And I'm like, no. But the more I see this kind of crap happen, Tom, I'm convinced anybody can win in a NASCAR race now, man. It's ridiculous. Like, Mickey Mouse this one, dude, completely. Like, even with the best car out of him and Blaney, even with the gap that he had before the final pit stop, even after he got a little bit of clean air through the traffic and a long run, still wasn't better than Blaney. And still wins! I mean, what the heck, man?
I think it's it's great actually, because look, just imagine for just a second here, Corey LaJoie actually wins a race
I can never imagine it.
under circumstances like Gateway, where instead of just Blaney running out, I mean, we have the front half of the field run out.
I still
All
think
right.
he'd lose.
And then you get all these people, you know, who watch his podcast, who follow him week in and week out. You get, you know, the sponsors involved. I mean, that would be a saving grace for NASCAR. That's why that's a thing, first off. But also, when you get wins that are so unpredictable like that, I mean, to add the chaos to a race, that is how you're going to gain some fans.
I mean, you're right. You're
Chaos,
right.
chaos gains fans.
Well, yeah.
Chaos, misery loves company.
Yeah, I agree. Chaos does create fans.
Chaos.
Yeah.
Creates.
I guess my thing is I'm not super angry about it because, like you said, the chaos gains fans, and it wasn't manufactured chaos, right? It was natural chaos, and that's good.
Well, I mean, we still had stages. I mean,
well, sure, but it's not like NASCAR is up there with a computer giving a different fuel number to Blaney or anything like that. Or was it like we had a green-white checkered where we piled up 4 quarters of the field, you know, and some guy limped it across with one wheel, you know, like it was controlled chaos to an extent. So, I mean, I agree. Stage cautions do still suck, especially the way that they design the stages anymore. The people that set the stage lengths don't have any idea about racing at all. Like, they just make it up as they go. I think they do it based on TV numbers. So, like, the short stage at the beginning, so they can fit in their 40 cautions for everybody to tune out at the end of stage 1. You know? I don't know. All right. Real quick, we'll go over the point standings after this weekend. Denny Hamlin is still your points leader. Larson is still P2 in points, 21 back. And then Elliott has now surfaced into P3, 27 back. We are going to go into our next segment here. So we'll be back with you in about 30 seconds. Alrighty. Alrighty. My conspiracy moment of the week is IndyCar fans are drinking from the same Kool-Aid as NASCAR fans. The same fans that are here for Atlanta are the same fans that are saying we need to get rid of Detroit Street Course to go run at Michigan. All they want to see is carnage and chaos when they complain about carnage and chaos. And I think Tom has disconnected. Oh no. We'll wait for Tom here in a second. Actually, I'll just run back with the conspiracy moment. We'll be right back with you in 1 second. See if Tom can go back. If you guys are watching, oh shoot, Tom is gone. He's back again. I'm here, Tom. I don't know about you though. Oh man, the technology gremlins are getting us. And he's gone again. Tom is having some issues with his Discord, I guess. You know what? I'm gonna run the $4.99 promo real quick, and we'll be back once Tom is back. The best iRacers in the business.
It's the way to do it. We're in the 87 cars here at Talladega. As you see the 15 car grabbing the wall.
Wow.
He did it! He made it through that!
Wow.
Oh, we got contact! Oh my goodness! Oh, and he's upside down! Garrett Gusso is upside down! Mayhew's sliding! They're not being able to stop the 7-car, losing it! He's into the grass on the tri-oval! He's gonna get a penalty for that! He has no help, and this guy's got a rocket ship! Move aside, Kim Jong-un, the 46 crew can build a better rocket than you! You're Our next is $4.99 champion is Garrett Gusto.
Garrett
He is the
Gusto!
winner of the $4.99. Garrett Gusto, you are immortal.
The best iRacers in the business. Alrighty. My conspiracy moment of the week is NASCAR fans are drinking from the same Kool-Aid as IndyCar fans, NASCAR fans drinking from the same Kool-Aid. The same fans that like the Atlanta races in NASCAR, the same fans that want IndyCar to get rid of Detroit Street Course and go and race at the Michigan International Speedway. They just want to see more wrecks, more crazy carnage and action when we already have that anyway, and they complain about it as it is. And Tom is gone again.
I'm just kidding.
Oh man, you gotta be
Gotcha.
messed up.
All right. My conspiracy.
That's good. I was about to throw my computer out the window, dude.
All right, my conspiracy moment of the week. Actually, I think NASCAR granted Larson the waiver because of backlash on social media.
And like that being said, that is our conspiracy moment of the week. We'll be back with you in about 20 seconds. Alrighty. We're sorry about that. Thank you guys for being patient there with our technical difficulties. Yeah, I've been having issues here. I think you're right, though, Noah. I think IndyCar was listening to what we just said, and they were not happy about it. And same with NASCAR. I think they're all watching. They want to shut us down, cancel us. But we got the technical difficulties behind us, and we're going to get back into this podcast. That was our conspiracy moment of the week. We love doing that, so stay tuned tomorrow, and that'll go up on a little short you guys can watch as well. Next, though, Tom, I think it's time to preview the races this weekend. We have NASCAR Xfinity and Cup over at Sonoma. We got Indy NXT over at Road America, F1 at Canada, as well as the Michelin Pilot Challenge and VP Racing Fuel Series at Mid-Ohio. Xfinity Series notable entries. We got Boris Said coming out of retirement in the number 17 HMS machine this weekend. Ty Gibbs, John Hunter Nemechek will both be in JGR Toyotas. Ed Jones back with Sam Hunt Racing again in the number 26, and then Sage Karam in the number 35 Gase machine. And then in the Cup Series, we got Kaz Gralla in the 15 Rick Ware Racing machine, AJ Allmendinger with Colleague in the 16, and then two V8 Supercar guys. We got Will Brown in the number 33 RCR machine, and Cam Waters in the number 60 RFK machine in the Cup Series race this weekend. You know what we missed, though, Tom? Probably should go back and do it. Driver and Bonehead of the Weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, better go over that real quick. So, driver of the week this weekend, we had Lane Riggs, P5 in the Truck Series race. He's getting so close to winning a race in the top series. We also got Ed Jones finishing P5 in the Xfinity race. What a fantastic job he did this weekend. And then Carson Hocevar, P8 in the Cup Series race, absolutely carrying the Spire team on his back. Bonehead moves of the week, Nick Tandy running into the number 35 Ferrari, absolutely detriment to his race. I'm also going to nominate Jacob Abel for turning Michael D'Orlando in the Indy NXT race. He's your points leader, and that was just dumb. And then obviously Colton Herta. We talked about it. This is going to nominate him twice in a row here with his very bold not so good move that he made in the IndyCar race this weekend, really taking him out of contention to win that race. All right, let's preview the races, Tom. Saturday, the Xfinity Series at Sonoma, the Zip Buy Now, Buy Later 250. Buy one, get one free. Rent these cars on eBay 250 at Sonoma. Xfinity Series races have the weirdest names, man. I swear. My favorite this weekend, and I think this is without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, he's going to get the job done. He's going to go back-to-back the Xfinity Series. Shane Van Glizzy, as Tom would say, is going to get the job done this weekend and win at Sonoma. And then my dark horse, you know what? I'm going to go with Ed Jones. He really impressed the hell out of me at Portland. Him and Sage Karam. Sage Karam didn't get the result he deserved there at the end, but Ed Jones did. He's in the same car, same team, same crew. Everything's the same again this weekend at Sonoma. Watch out for Ed Jones this weekend and make some inroads again on another top 5 finish.
Absolutely. I'm going to go with the same picks, what I did with Portland. I've been a Glizzy fan since Chicago, and what he did there, unbelievable, awesome. And what he's doing for the sport right now is even better. So I'm going to go with SVG for the race, and then for my dark horse, going with Karam again. Karam actually had a great run at Portland, plagued with issues. I think that if they could bounce back from that, Sonoma, you could see Karam finishing top 3.
Heck yeah. I'm excited for it. All right, and then on Sunday is the onslaught of races. First one I want to note here is the Pilot Challenge Series race, the O'Reilly Auto Parts 4 hours at Mid-Ohio. This is the second 4-hour race this year for the Pilot Challenge Series. They ran the first one there at Daytona, and now this is their next big endurance event. My favorite is going to be the team that won at Daytona. I'm going to go with the number 57 Windward Machine Mercedes here in the Grand Sport class. And my dark horse in Grand Sport, I'm going to go with the number 50 Hattori Machine, just because I want to see these supers do good in IMSA. And I'm a big fan of Hattori. We've seen what they were doing in the Truck Series over the last few years. They got a championship with Brett Moffitt. We saw Austin Hill kind of make a name for himself there. I'd like to see him do good here in Grand Sport.
All right, for my favorite, I'm going to take the 97 Turner Scott Morris.
Dang. Snipe that one from me.
Full send. And then for my dark horse, for the same exact reasons, I'd like to see the supers do really good. I'm going to go with number 50 Hattori as well.
Alrighty, and then when it comes to TCR, I'm going to take the number 17 Audi. They've been the only team that's been able to challenge any of the Hyundais this year. I think they're going to go back-to-back, and they're going to get another victory here in the Pilot Challenge Series. And this endurance event is going to be a tough one, but I think that they're going to have the speed. They've got the driver lineup. I think they'll be there at the end, and they're going to get the job done. And then my dark horse, I'm going to stick with them as my dark horse all season long. This team is absolute dog water, garbage, dumpster. You might as well slap a damn MF and 15 on it. I'm going with the number 5 Alfa Romeo team. Maybe they can shock the world one of these days and give us a good result.
I'm going to go for my favorite, also with the number 17 JDC Audi. And then for my dark horse, I'm going to go with the number 76 Brian Herta Auto Sport. For no reason whatsoever.
Them and the Alfa Romeo are probably the first caution. They're going to run right into each other into turn 1. 4-hour race, done instantly.
You know how it be.
Yeah, it do really be like that sometimes. I'm really excited for this race. This race was really good last year. I think it should be good again this year. Pilot Challenge Series is so much fun to watch. If you don't watch Pilot Challenge, I don't know what you're doing, because it has been some great racing this year. All right, and then on Sunday, the Indy NXT is back, the Grand Prix at Road America. I'm going to take the guy that won this race last year and really kind of put himself on the map. I know he was in that battle last year with Rasmussen, and this is the race that he kind of got back in the championship fight with Rasmussen. Actually took the points lead after this race last year. I'm going to go Nolan Siegel. I think he gets the job done this weekend at Road America. With the speed he had there last year, he was just untouchable. I think it's going to be a lot of the same. And then my dark horse, I'm going to go Miles Rowe again. He just consistently, every week, just improves his finishes. This weekend, he had a great run at Detroit. Maybe one of these days, we'll see Miles Rowe end up in victory lane. I would love to see it. I'm going to take him again as my dark horse.
Actually, both of my picks here are going to be a continuation of Detroit. So my favorite, I'm a homer. I'm going to go with Foster for this weekend, and then for my dark horse, I'm going to go with Chadwick again. Actually, she had a great run at Detroit. I think she finished P5. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that. I
Yeah,
don't
something
know.
like that.
But yeah, that's. I'm just gonna do a continuation because I'm a believer.
There you go. That's our picks for the Indy NXT race. And then when it comes to the Formula One, the Canadian Grand Prix this weekend, this is going to be an interesting race for sure. We've got 4 winners this season in Formula One, Tom? We've had Leclerc, Sainz, Verstappen, and Norris. I'm going to stick with this guy until he gets this first win. It's going to happen. He's been so close. Miami, he had a great run going. Didn't get the job done due to that unfortunate scenarios that played out in that race to gift his teammate the win. Ran great at Monaco. Maybe didn't have the experience it took to be able to master the tire wear in that race and lost touch there with Leclerc at the end. But I think if any race can happen, I think it's going to happen this weekend. I think I'm going to take Piastri to win this race and become the 5th different winner this year in Formula One. What a great season we've had compared to last season. I mean, this is already 10 times better with the parity that we've seen. And I think Piastri gets the job done this weekend at Canada. They've been so fast. Those McLarens have got some speed this year. They've actually challenging the likes of Ferrari and Red Bull. And I think Piastri can get the job done. And then when it comes to my dark horse, I'm sticking with it, man. Hulkamania is running wild, baby. Let's go. Nico Hulkenberg. He's going to have a great run. He's going to get back in the points. Got a little bit of issues there at Monaco. I don't think that's going to translate at all to Canada. I think he's going to qualify up in the Q3 again, and he's going to run in the points all day long, and he's going to get another points finish.
So for this weekend in the Canadian Grand Prix, I'm going to choose Leclerc because what a phenomenal run he had at Monaco. The Ferrari team is really turning up here right now at the right time to go after that championship. They're really, really close in points here. So it's manufacturer points, I believe. I still think Verstappen is pretty, 60, 70 points ahead?
No, he's only 31 right now.
Oh, 30? Okay, well, never mind then. So yeah, I mean, with the momentum that he's got coming off of Monaco, with all the hype he's got coming, why not Leclerc? The Ferrari car is extremely fast. And then for my dark horse, in fact, I chose Tsunoda for Monaco. I'm going to choose him again for Canada. I just think that Tsunoda is severely underrated. He's an absolutely amazing driver and a massive turnaround from when he first came into F1, and that means a lot to me. It means he's learning, so I'm all for it. I'm going Leclerc, Tsunoda this weekend.
Alrighty, those are our picks for the F1 Canadian Grand Prix this weekend. Super excited for this race. It was a great race last year. I'm expecting nothing different this year. Hopefully we get some rain racing, man. We've really had a couple opportunities for some rain racing this year, and it's been taken away from us every single time. I would love to see some rain racing, at least in one motorsport this year. Maybe this weekend at Montreal. We could see it. Fantasy lineups this weekend for the Canadian Formula One Grand Prix. I'm gonna stick with the same lineup at Monaco. I think I'm gonna stick with this for a while. I think this is the best lineup I could pick. I'm gonna go for Verstappen, Sainz, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Bottas. And the only option I might switch out eventually would be Ocon, because I think he might not be in that car for the rest of the season. So, but for now, he's still in that car here at Canada. I'm going to stick with him. And then for my manufacturers, I'm going to go Ferrari and Sauber. Continue to ride that train. I think Ferrari, I don't know. McLaren might be one I want to put in there, but I'm going to stick with Ferrari for now because I do like Sainz and Leclerc. They're turning up right now.
I'm actually going to change mine because, man, did I get absolutely packed at Monaco. I mean, look at this lineup. I did get Leclerc, but look what I got after this. All right, hold on to your pants here. I chose Perez, Hulkenberg, and Magnussen. Oh my God. That is like the worst combination you could choose right there. And then I got Albon, which was also terrible. So, and then for my manufacturers, I got Ferrari and Aston Martin.
Alrighty. Those are our fantasy picks for this weekend's Formula One Grand Prix at Canada. Montreal. Alrighty. Next on the chopping block here for picks, we're gonna go to the IndyCar series, the XPEL Grand Prix at Road America. My pick this weekend, I know I talked a lot of crap, dude, earlier when we were doing the race recap of Detroit, but this man has been consistently the fastest almost every single weekend this year in IndyCar. That's Colton Herta. There's no way he's going to go winless this year. There's no possible way he's going to get the job done in one of these weekends. I think he'll qualify up front again. If you remember last year, Tom, him and Ray Hall, those were the best two cars here last year, and neither of them won. Guess who stole it? It was Pillow. But I think it's different this year. I think Herta's going to get the job done. He's going to finally win, make me look smart, or make me look dumb, and then I'm putting him on my never again list for the rest of the year. So it's one or the other here. But I think Herta does get the job done this weekend. And then my dark horse, this guy is an absolute Chad. I think this guy is a future IndyCar champion. I see so many. I see a lot of Alex Palou, Scott Dixon in this guy, and those are his teammates. I'm going with Marcus Armstrong this weekend. He's going to have another fantastic run. Gets his first podium at Detroit. I think he's going to do it again. I think we see him back on the podium again this weekend. I think behind Herta, Palou, I think he'll be third right there in line.
All right, so for my favorites this weekend, I'm going with Palou because I'm choosing him for the championship to win it all. Yeah, I don't think there's much else to say about that. He's the freaking GOAT. And then for my dark horse, I'm gonna go with Kiffin Simpson. Why? I don't know. I just got to start rooting for somebody younger because, as a teammate to Palou, Armstrong, and well, the real GOAT, Scott Dixon. He's got to do good. I mean, he's in great equipment. He's got great mentors. I mean, he's got to, yeah.
All right. Well, those are our picks for this weekend's Road America race, the XPEL Grand Prix. I'm super excited for this race. Road America, IndyCar is perfect match. I mean, I love Road America in general, but IndyCar's there is going to be so much fun. And I think you're right, though, Tom, with your pick with Palou and mine with Herta. I think those are the two guys that are going to be battling for this win anyway. Those have been the best two on a consistent basis every single week in IndyCar this year. So I think those picks are good picks this weekend in IndyCar. And then when it comes to the Cup race on Sunday, the Toyota Save Mart 350. Oh, man, this could be an interesting race. We got a little bit of Aussie invasion in this race as well with Cam Waters, Will Brown making some starts. Too bad SVG isn't in the race or Brody Kostecki. It would have been cool to have a four-peat there with the V8 Supercar guys, but you can't ever get what you want in motorsports, it seems, especially this year. This year's really been that year. But for my favorite this weekend, I bounced around with multiple drivers, but I mean, I feel like this weekend Larson's going to get the job done. It's going to happen. He's really good at Sonoma these last few years, and that's kind of what I base this upon. I think that you're going to see a lot of guys up towards the front. I would say McDowell's going to be up there. I think Suarez is going to have a 1 in a million race. I think Buescher's going to be really good this weekend. I think Byron's going to be good. But when it comes all down to the end of brass tacks and everything at the end of this race, I think we're going to see Larson crossing the finish line in that P1 position. And then my dark horse, I said it at the offseason, Todd. This was my bold prediction. I still believe in it, man. I still believe in it. Todd Gilliland is going to win a race before the end of this year. It's going to happen. Why not this weekend? McDowell's going to be fast. I guarantee McDowell's going to be quick. McDowell's going to be super fast. Gilliland, teammate to him. He's had good performances at Sonoma in the past. I think Gilliland is going to shock the world this weekend and have a great finish. He's going to be running up at the front of the field all day long. And if things work out right, strategy-wise, with the BS stage cautions, maybe Gilliland can pull a rabbit out of the hat and still win here this weekend.
Yeah. It's a great pick, actually. But on a continuation of what you just said there, for my favorite, I'm gonna choose McDowell, old McD, to come out here and spank the field. Also, surprise Gateway pole winner. That was kind of surprising to me, honestly. But I think he's gonna come out here to Sonoma. He's gonna have a good run, and I think he'll be battling for the lead here during the race. So then for my dark horse, I'm going to go Gibbs. The past first-time winners here in the series, all road courses. It could happen. And great equipment, too. Joe Gibbs ain't no slouch. Denny Hamlin's going to be fast. Truex is gonna be fast.
Bell's gonna be fast. Reddick's gonna be
Bell's
fast.
gonna be fast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be a good race up at the front of the field. There's about 10 guys I think you can list that are going to be good at Sonoma. Based upon the past, based upon what we've seen in recent trends at road courses, I think it's going to be a good race. Sonoma's always been a pretty good race, even with these crappy cars that we got. NASCAR fantasy lineup for this weekend. I'm trying to take some guys that I might not have a lot of uses on because I'm trying to. We got 11 races to go to the end of the season. I want to start like kind of mixing in some of the guys to use up some of their uses and use some of these other guys, especially like some of these road courses. So I'm gonna go AJ Allmendinger. I don't think he's gonna have a winning car. I don't think he's gonna be competitive in the top 10. But it's Allmendinger. It's road course. I'll take a gamble on it. I'll throw him on there. And then I'll take McDowell for obvious reasons. I think he's gonna be a contender for the win. Suarez, I think he's also gonna be a contender for the win. Don't sleep on Suarez this weekend. And then I'll take Busher as well. Busher's going to be a contender for the win as well. And then I'll throw in Chase Elliott. He used to be the road course king. I don't think that is the case anymore. But, you know, he's in a Hedrick car. I think he might shock some people this weekend. At least me.
I'm gonna have McDowell for obvious reasons. I'm gonna have Hamlin for obvious reasons. Truex for obvious reasons. I'm gonna choose Chastain, kind of as a little bit of an outlier there, and then I'm gonna choose Reddick to round out my lineup.
Alrighty. And then when it gets to matchups, we got Gibbs versus Busch. I think this is an easy take for Gibbs. I don't think this is even close.
Shit, not close. No.
And then the next one is Cindric and Chastain. Interesting one, but I'm gonna edge with Cindric here. Just to edge Chastain just a little bit here, just purely off of the basis that momentum's got to mean something.
Interesting. I'm just kidding. I'm choosing Chastain. That win doesn't mean anything to me. I mean, look, who developed that car? It was Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano. Cindric's in it by the seat of his pants because his dad is part of the team. And, you know, I really wish that, you know, he would have stuck to the road course side of racing and opened that seat up to somebody who probably deserves it a lot more. Michael McDowell, but things happen. I get it, but to even put Chastain and Cindric on the same plane like this is kind of an insult to me.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I'm just being too nice. I don't know. I think Cindric's dog water, but that's just me. Well, it's not just me. A lot of people have that take. And then the next one is Reddick and Elliott, which I know I took Elliott and Tom took Reddick on our lineup. So, but with that being said, I'm taking Reddick over Elliott. I just don't see it, man. He's just not good. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I got Reddick as well.
Yeah. All right, and then when it comes to the final matchup, Suarez and McDowell, I think that this is pretty easy as well. I said Suarez will be in contention to win this race. I also think McDowell's going to be in contention to win this race. When it comes down to splitting hairs, who's got more talent? It's no question. It's Michael McDowell.
Yeah, I mean, is this a question?
Oh.
Really? This is like, what was it? What race was after the All-Star race? Kansas, where they didn't even put Ricky Stenhouse and Bush together. It was like Ricky Stenhouse and
Jimmy
Joy
Johnson.
or something. Jimmy Johnson. My goodness, come on.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that, actually.
Oh, that's great. That's great action. Great content. That is our fantasy lineups for this weekend's race at Sonoma in the Cup Series. Big shout out to Dallas coming in with another gifted sub for Dwayne Davidson. Welcome to the boys, Dwayne Davidson. Dallas, you are an absolute G, the OG. Yes, is this a question? Yes, it is, he says. This is indeed a question. Oh, man.
Okay,
Oh,
Dallas.
man. Dallas is the man. Dallas is the man. Coming in clutch.
Dallas,
here.
your G.
Yes. Dega Boys fan, he says. Yes. Dega Boys. All right, Tom. I think that will summarize this podcast. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about here tonight, relating to motorsports in the world or anything.
Yeah, can we get that fueler out of racing series?
Yes. Goodness gracious, this dude's been passed
Or
around.
keep him in. I mean, it creates great drama, but
I'm trying to figure out where he's going to
somebody
go
get
next.
that guy a college calculus class or something. Maybe grade school calculus class, or maybe a multiplication table. Send him home with it. I don't know. Whatever a gallon weighs of fuel. I don't even know what it is, but it's not my job.
I mean, this man's been passed around. He started in WEC. He was over there at Peugeot, and they fired him.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and then he goes to Ray Hall and ruins that. Then he goes over to continues his IndyCar career over there at Andretti. He ruins that. Then he goes over to IMSA and messes up Cadillac with Ganassi. Then he jumps over to NASCAR and he's working for Penske. Where's he going next? Is he going to be an NHRA? Can you even not put enough fuel in a dragster? Well, I guess we're gonna find out.
Let's actually take that into account here, because they couldn't even put enough fuel into an IndyCar for a 10-lap race.
This guy's like, what? Hold my beer. Watch this. Where's he going next?
Yeah.
Remember, every time around Christmas they have that like Santa watch where you watch the Santa tracker. We need to have the Fuel Man tracker on this guy next. Where's he going next, boys? Is he going to be at Le Mans this weekend or in a couple weeks? Is he going to be at Road America? Is he going to go to Sonoma? Like, where's this man off to next? Oh,
I don't know. That's rip.
This guy's racing career is going to be a fun story to watch over the developing months.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Yeah, that will round out the podcast. It's time to talk about some things that we got going on this week, Tom. What are we doing tomorrow? What are we doing Thursday, Saturday, Sunday,
Right.
and then Monday?
Tomorrow is the Nexus Motor City Trucks. We're going to be at Kentucky with the updated aero package for the trucks. That's going to be a learning process. That's probably going to be a pretty good race too. So come on out and hang out with us as we call that race. Thursday is going to be our coveted Deegan Cup. So make sure you guys come out for that. We're going to be at
Bristol,
I think it's Bristol. Yeah, that's right, Bristol. So make sure you guys come out for that. That's going to be an absolute banger. On Saturday, we're at Talladega with PSCRL for the cutoff race for the Final Four.
We're going to set the Final Four. Big time moments there in the championship, yeah.
And then on Sunday, we're sports cars at Watkins Glen. So make sure you guys come there. In fact, a little bit of a twist there. We're going to be having a damp racetrack.
I've seen the track conditions of the track layout. This is gonna be interesting, Tom. I'm excited for it.
Yep. It's gonna be a great race. So make sure you guys show up for that. Monday, I don't.
It's IndyCar or the Grand Prix Championships at Spa, if I'm not mistaken.
Spa.
Yeah,
nice.
So that'll be fun.
Nice.
Yeah. So
all right.
Lots of great broadcasts.
And then we've got the Nexus 499 coming up June 22. So make sure you guys, if you guys want to be a part of that, actually, you guys can. Make sure you guys go to our Discord in the link provided below, and go to, or we have the link for the Discord, for the special events Discord in there, so you guys can join there and sign up for the race. But it's going to be another full production. We're going to be hopefully maybe broadcasting some races, qualifying, and all the way leading up to the race. We're going to be doing some driver interviews. We're going to be doing some paint scheme previews. Just the whole 9 yards that we like to do with this race. So, but then it's going to lead all the way up to the 499, 188 laps at Talladega with the 1987 Cup cars. So, I mean, it was a great race last year. Seriously. I mean,
unbelievable.
What else?
Cash money on the line in that race too. You got come jump in, race. We got a big trophy, the traveling trophy right now. Mike Garguso has that trophy right now. I can't wait to talk to him in the pre-race and have him showcase the trophy in his backdrop. I'll have to get in contact with him. But man, it's gonna be so much fun. And then also a qualifying. Very important qualifying. I know that there's going to be an award up for that as well, thanks to Kyle Hendricks. I know he's really takes pride in that whole qualifying session, and we do too here at the Dega Boys channel. So it's gonna be a fun time, a fun event. You're gonna see the whole cast of Dega Boys out there, and it's filling up. Tom, I've just checked in there, driver registration. There's lots of people signing up for it. So if you guys want to make your mark on this historic marquee event on iRacing, go sign up. I know there's Matthew Wood in the chat. I know he's going to be racing it. Noah Blackwell, NGB Designs, will be in it. And I think Dallas has signed up for it as well. So a lot of guys that tune into the podcast here tonight are going to be racing. And yes, great stuff. And also, I mean, we talked about it a lot last night too, Tom. That triple challenge here on the Dega Boys channel still up for grabs.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's got 2 legs completed yet, and it's the first driver to complete all 3 legs. So with all the amount of race we got coming up these next few days, we got all 3 series racing within the next 6 days. So still opportunities to go get that Triple Crown challenge. We had a couple guys last night almost get it. Matthew Wood, Rob Collier right there at the battle for the win there. We're trying to get that second leg. Neither of them were successful through the way that race played out, but it was an amazing race. Oh my goodness. If you guys get a chance, go back and look at the final laps of the last 2 nights of racing we did here on this channel. Holy cow. We've had some great racing. Also, it's time to announce the watch party. It is official. It closed today. I've got it scheduled on the channel already. It is going to be the Watkins Glen, 6 hours at the Glen for the IMSA series. We're going to be here for the entire duration of that 6-hour race. Boy, am I excited, Tom. I can't believe it. IMSA has won a watch party once again on the channel. I think we won Petit Le Mans last year with IMSA, and then we obviously did the Rolex this year because that was really the only option that was available to us. During those winter months, we kind of just pick one race and do that as the watch party. But I am super stoked to do this race. It's gonna be so much fun. Come out, hang out with us. Turn the race on one screen, turn the Dega Boys on the other. Interact with us through the chat and hang out, have a good time, watch some racing, get our live reactions. It's always a fun time in the watch parties. We had 4 last month. Holy cow, that was fun. We're gonna have another one this month, and that will be on the 23rd. It'll be the day after the 499. Actually, Tom, will be the day of the watch party. So that's a lot of streaming that weekend. I didn't think about that, but. Buckle in with the Dega Boys, I guess. It's never ending here on this channel. That's all I can say. We're streaming every day, it seems like, anymore. So, yes, lots of great stuff coming up here on the Dega Boys channel. I want to say thank you to all of our channel members. The boys members there, Dallas, Stephen Doughton, Taps. We appreciate you guys a ton. And then all the other members that have circulated to the channel over the last few weeks. I mean, welcome to the boys. Thank you guys so much. All of that just means so much to me and Tom. We love growing this community and interacting with people that love racing just as much as we do. Join our Discord. I'm going to say that again. It is an open forum. If you guys find news or any type of content you guys want to post in our Discord, feel free. It's there for you guys to interact and communicate with other like-minded racing fans like you. That's the whole point of it. Just be able to interact and talk and meet other people that like racing just as much as you. There's even iRacing stuff you can post in there. If you guys want to post your paint schemes or any clips you get from any races that you've competed in outside of any leagues or in league, it doesn't matter. Post it in our Discord. We'd like to see it. We love interacting with our community and seeing what you guys have been up to racing-wise. Even IRL stuff. Like, I know Noah Blackwell is saying he's going to be going to Sonoma here in a couple weeks. Post us some pictures in there. So let us know how it is down there at Sonoma and share it with the community. We know we've had other people post stuff in there as well, so awesome stuff. Love the Discord. Go follow us on X, Patreon, Instagram, as well as Facebook for other different types of content that we have as well. Patreon specifically, you get the full-length crash compilation videos, the ones that YouTube does not like. We post those in our Patreon, and all of those proceeds go back to help us make bigger and better content for you guys. Lots of stuff I've got planned this summer. I know me and Jared have got some ideas on some stuff. I want to bring back a series that we did once. It was a success, and we just haven't got back to it. And I would like to get back to doing that again this summer with some of these Saturdays being freed up. So I'm super excited to bring some of that content to you guys as well and really showcase a lot of the cool things going on around the world, or especially the United States, short track wise. What am I missing here, Tom? I feel like merch store. If you guys like some cool swag, some t-shirts, some hats, some water bottles, some mugs, some jackets, some bags, whatever it is, Dega Boys related. We've got a full merch store with all kinds of awesome merch that you guys can rep the boys on a daily basis, out and about. all of the proceeds from that go back again to help us make bigger, better content for you guys here on YouTube. We appreciate everybody that tuned in tonight, everybody that tunes into all of our broadcast watch parties, all of our videos, likes, comments, subscribes. You guys mean the world to us. And with that being said, this has been another fantastic podcast here on the Dega Boys channel, Full Send Half Mast Podcast, episode 73. And this has been Jay and Thomas with the Dega Boys. And we'll catch y'all in the next one.
The best iRacers in the business.
It's the way to do it. We're in the 87 cars here at Talladega. As you see the 15 car grabbing the wall.
Wow.
He did it! He made it through that!
Wow.
Oh, we got contact! Oh my goodness! Oh, and he's upside down! Garrett Gusso is upside down! Mayhew's sliding! They're not being able to stop the 7-car, losing it! He's into the grass on the tri-oval! He's gonna get a penalty for that! He has no help, and this guy's got a rocket ship! Move aside, Kim Jong-un, the 46 crew can build a better rocket than you! Your Nexus 499 champion is Garrett Gusso. Garrett Gusso, winner of the 499